think we have almost everybody in here. So I'm excited to welcome you all to our Davidson Women's Soccer virtual event this evening. For those that don't know me, my name is Jessica Dugas, and I work in the Davidson Athletic Fund. And I am the liaison for our women's soccer program and help them with revenue generation. Tonight we have a couple different things going on. Coach Riley's going to speak. You're going to meet Coach Sophie. And then I wanted to highlight that we'll be using a different feature than we have on our past women's soccer virtual calls. At the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll notice there's a Q&A button. And so you can use that to submit your questions. And we encourage you to submit your questions there at any time during the evening. You don't have to wait until we're in the Q&A portion. So just go ahead and type your questions in there and we will read them aloud to make sure everyone can hear them and get them answered. And hopefully we can get to all of them this evening. So we're really happy to have this opportunity to meet our new coaches and get some updates. And so I'm excited to introduce our new head coach, Riley Piechnick.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess. Hello, everyone. I know I've met a few of you, but some of you I still have not. But just thought finally for me, it's been about 5 months. I'm starting to get settled a little bit, get my feet under me. So thought it'd be a good opportunity this summer just to get my face in front of you. And although it's not ideal via Zoom, at least it's a way. This is one good thing that I guess has come about the whole pandemic is they've given us more opportunities to kind of get face to face. So yeah, I'm just excited to kind of give you guys a little bit more, about me, about my vision for the program, give you some program updates. I've got some talking points that I'm just going to go on through, and then at the end, open it up for Q&A and just answer some things that you guys want to know about me, myself, the program, and Davidson. But to start with me, for those I haven't met, like Jess said, my name is Riley. I've been at Davidson now. I think it's been about 5 months, but still feels like yesterday. It's still been one thing after another, taking it day by day, but slowly, like I said, getting settled and enjoying my experience. A little bit about my background. So prior to Davidson, I was at Bucknell University up in the middle of Pennsylvania for 5 years. I was there playing in the Patriot League, coaching in the Patriot League. Prior to Bucknell, I was at Gettysburg College for 2 seasons as an assistant coach there. And I was lucky enough to get an assistant coaching job right out of school. Graduated in 2016 from Loyola University, Maryland. So played in the Patriot League there, coached a little bit at Gettysburg, coached in the Patriot League again. So that's kind of how Bucknell came about, and loved my experience there, had a lot of success there, and wasn't necessarily looking to get out, but the Davidson opportunity presented itself and was something too good to pass up. Checked a lot of my boxes. So that's a little bit about me and my background. I'm excited. I think a lot of you probably haven't met Sophie yet. Sophie McKnight joined us. What are you, Sophie? 3 months in.
Sure.
So I'm going to let her,
right.
2 months. Yeah. I'm going to let her kind of go through her background and her experiences, but we're really happy to have her on board. She's been awesome in the past few months, really had to hit the ground running. So introducing Sophie McKnight.
All right. Hi, everyone. Nice to virtually meet you. So like Riley said, my name is Sophie McKnight. I've been at Davidson now, I think almost 3 months, got here about end of March. So right in the middle of spring season, didn't really have time to think. I think my second day on the job, we were playing Elon. So no better way to learn than get thrown right into it. Prior to Davidson, I spent 2 seasons at Haverford College. They're a Division III program in the Centennial Conference right outside of Philadelphia. And before that, I was at Montgomery County Community College for about a season. I played at Elizabethtown College, their Division III program up in Central PA, graduated there in, I think, 2019 sounds about right. After that, I decided to go back to school, and I also got my master's in sports management with a concentration in collegiate athletic administration and certification in sports psychology. So that's kind of my education background, my coaching background. Super excited to be at Davidson. I also have a lot of club experience, but I was definitely looking for that next step, that next level at a school that, was just as special as, my past experiences. And I definitely think I found the right place.
Awesome. Thank you, Sophie. Yeah, so like I said, I've got some talking points and I'll kind of go through and just talk about the first thing I'm going to go through is visions and kind of goals for the program. As I go, everyone, feel free, jump in the Q&A, jump in the chat. I'd love for this to be, conversation, interactive. And like I said, I'll open it up at the end. But I'm also a fast talker. I've always been that way. So if I need to slow down or if anyone jumps in with a question, feel free. So I'll get started. So my first thing here with visions and goals for the program. So overall, my main goal for Davidson is to provide just an exceptional 4-year experience for the scholar athletes. So what does this mean? How do we do that? I've got my on-field goal, and it's pretty obvious. I came to Davidson to win some A10 championships. I think there's resources here. I think we can do that. And that's why I was really excited about the opportunity. Long-term, like on the field, I would love to be able to say that each of my players that kind of came through Davidson won an A10 championship. They came in, maybe it was their freshman year, maybe it was their senior year, but at some point in their 4 years, they can say, yes, that was an incredible experience. I remember that for the rest of my life. And came in and won a championship. I think that's the end goal for me. And again, it might not happen every year, but I want to consistently compete, and I want to be able to say that in the long term. So that's the main on-field, and obviously there's so many logistics that are going to go into that soccer wise, and I won't get into the nitty gritty. I can answer some questions after, but that's the overall goal for on the field. Off the field, it means having a culture. I've kind of decided to break it down into 5 different things. So having a culture that does this. Number 1 is strives for academic success and prioritizes the academic piece. I want to be able to, again, I'm a competitor. I want to be able to say in the department, we had the highest team cumulative GPA of all the sports teams at Davidson. I just think that we can accomplish that. And, obviously this is Davidson. You come here for the 4-year education. So that's going to be a big piece of our program and kind of something that identifies us. Number 2, develop strong, impactful leaders through sport. That's going to be through conversations with me. That's going to be just through the experience of having teammates and being on a team and competing at a high level. Number 3, I would say, is probably having a good reputation on campus. I want them to have a strong presence in the community within Davidson and, outward as well. My goal here is to have at least 1 community service event per semester. And I'm going to hold myself accountable to that. Number 4, creates and supports an inclusive environment. Just making sure we support that. We're giving them the resources and having those conversations within their 4 years here. And number 5 would be cultivates a lifelong bond and supporting the overall community and family environment that I think Davidson College provides. I think they do a great job of that. It's important to me. It was important here in my interview, and I could feel that. So that was, again, another box for me that was just checked when I got this job. And I'm going to make sure that I continue to do that. So kind of, I guess, how are we doing this to support this whole vision? And I've had, 5 months here. So what have we done in the 5 months to do this? And looking forward, what are we going to do? Because obviously, these are kind of big aspirations and big goals. And I want to make sure we're doing all the things necessary to make sure this all happens. So moving on to the next, I guess, state of the program type updates for on the field. Well, hopefully they're currently training in summer. I don't have a lot of oversee in the summer, but they did get summer packets, which had a bunch of fitness workouts. It had soccer workouts, gave them a big, long plan of just what they need to do to prepare for the fall season. So hopefully they're getting that done. That's going to be huge. If they can come in ready to go and fit right off the bat, it means we can focus a lot on the soccer piece and we're going to be ready a lot quicker. If they come in and the first day of preseason looks like we're not super fit, then we're going to have to do a little bit more running because that's a big piece of it for me. So that's, currently, again, I don't have a lot of hands on everything, but this past spring and the past, 3 months that I had with them, we trained almost every day and thought we made really big strides on the field. The biggest one was fitness. Like I just said and mentioned, that for me is huge. I truly believe that the teams that are the more fit teams in the A10 conference win more games throughout a season. You have less injuries, you face less adversity, you can play for the full 90 minutes. And especially when there's no overtime anymore, getting it done within the 90 minutes, I think is huge. So fitness is a big piece. And they learned that this spring. We did a lot of it, but they embraced it. The mentality started to shift a little bit, which was another big stride this spring. Sessions were high paced. They were competitive. They had a lot of energy. So I think the competitive piece is another piece that the team just really, again, fully embraced. They, started to scrap and, battle but do it in a really, really healthy way where they could be on the field and they were making each other better. But as soon as they kind of walked off, it was like, all right, we're best friends again, and we're going to go have dinner. And it didn't matter kind of what happened on the field. So made big strides in that area, which I was very, very proud of the group. And the last one this spring was really just gaining play experience. As a lot of you know, we've just graduated 12 seniors, which is a really, really big class. And a lot of them played a lot of minutes. So this spring, and especially in the scrimmages, was all about getting people just game experience, playing in different positions, and just getting them comfortable in those pressure game situations. So sounds like from the feedback I got that they really enjoyed that. They played a lot of minutes, and people are feeling more confident and comfortable going into preseason this fall, having a new coach, but also with the people around them. So that's kind of the off the field update, and kind of some of the things we've done or on the field. Off of the field, we've done a lot. We really used the 3 months to kind of start building the culture, start building the foundation of what we want Davidson women's soccer to look like. So we had a ton of culture and leadership sessions with the team. We actually sat down and I had the team really, this was amazing because they went through and kind of took the lead on it. I kind of helped them through it, but I really wanted the goals of the program and what our culture was going to be about. I wanted them to have a say in that, and I wanted to be super collaborative, kind of back and forth. So we sat down, we talked as a group, we kind of put all of these words on the board of what we think that Davidson women's soccer should look like. We had conversations of what those words mean, and we ended up narrowing it down to 3 words of what's going to define Davidson College women's soccer this fall. And they chose the word grit, which I love, fully on board. Again, it's going to take battle, grit, fight, scrap to win some games this year. Purpose was their other one, which I thought was awesome and kind of was a big, it umbrellaed a lot of things, just kind of why they do it every day. It also pertains to in the classroom, just kind of why they put the cleats on and what they're there for, which I thought was really great and kind of powerful. And the last word was family. And again, I'm a big relationship person. I think it's really important to create these bonds within. So for them to say, hey, we want to do that too. We want to have this great experience and we want to meet our lifelong, best friends doing this, I think was really important. So family means respecting each other and just having those really amazing relationships, because I just think the culture piece goes a very long way in being able to win championships. So those were the 3 words they chose, which I thought was great. And their 4 goals were to win the A10. And this was not me telling them which goals, this was their goals that they chose. Number 1 was win the A10. Number 2 was academic success. Number 3 was relationships and experience. And number 4 was to be the team to set the standard on campus, which I thought was really cool. And again, didn't come from me, came from them. So I know I'm with a really, really high achieving, really impressive group, which I feel very lucky for. Some other off-field things we did, we had a sports neuroscientist come in and do a presentation with the group who's an alum here at Davidson actually, and just talk to the team about brain performance and target sports and some ways to get back to the green zone when maybe there's a lot of noise happening around them. So they thought that was super helpful. And the community service piece, we added a team member this spring and didn't get to come around as much, and will be around a lot more in the fall, but she's 11-year-old named Kira, local in the community, who was diagnosed with a type of cancer a couple months ago. So she's been going through treatment, and in the fall, we're going to have her come around, make sure she can come to some games, and really just make her basically a full-on team member with us. So we're really excited to get involved with that. And then Charlotte AYSO, we're going to do a big game and clinic probably this semester as well. So those will kind of be our 2 pieces this semester, but ongoing, we're going to make sure we continue those things. Current updates and kind of early look at 2023. On the road this summer right now, Sophie actually heads to New Jersey this weekend. I'll be heading to California. We've had a couple events. So we're just looking to really finish up the 2024 class. We've had a little bit of a late start, but there's still plenty of good players left in the 2024 class. So kind of hitting the ground running on that. We have 4 committed right now, which we're really excited about. 2 of them are actually twins from Florida. We've got 1 from New York and another one from New York. So 4 committed and probably looking to bring in 7 or 8 in that class. We've got an open search right now for an assistant goalkeeping coach. So that's really exciting. That'll happen before preseason. There's been talks about whether the job is going to be kind of part-time, full-time, and obviously who you search for is going to be different depending on what the job entails. So we're going to right now look for a part-time goalkeeping assistant coach with hopes of in the near future that turns into a full-time position. So that's kind of going on in the next few weeks here. Other than that, just getting organized for travel and the upcoming season and just kind of the logistical fun office pieces that we all know and love. The schedule is out for 2023. I know I sent it to parents, but it's also out on the website. So super excited about that. We've got 2 scrimmages before we start, 8 non-conference games, which are all pretty local. And to be honest with you, it'll be interesting. I haven't played a lot of the local teams, so I'm excited to kind of get out and see what the competition's like. And then we've got 10 conference games. And obviously, the highlight game this year is probably going to be the Richmond game, but it is our second to last game. So I've got to keep reminding the group that we've got a lot of games to play before that game, but that'll be a big one. So we're excited about that, but excited for the whole season, really. We have 10 incoming freshmen this year, giving us a roster of 28. So we have 28 this year, representing 15 different states, which is pretty incredible. A lot of representation, which is really awesome to have. And then our move-in date is official on August 3rd. And 2 weeks of preseason, just going to be playing a whole lot, evaluating the group, the 10 incoming freshmen, getting them integrated, and just, seeing what our strengths are and kind of playing to our strengths this year and giving us the best opportunity to win. And kind of my last talking point here, guys, and then I'm going to turn it over to you because I've done a lot of talking already, I feel like, but just some upcoming alumni events to put on your calendar. Actually, the Richmond game, I found out we had a alumni reunion a couple weeks ago. And there was actually about 18 alumni here for their 5, 10, 15 year. And I found out that we have a ton of alumni in Richmond that are living there currently. So the night before the game, I think we're going to try and do some kind of social in Richmond for the alums, get them together. And then hopefully maybe like a tailgate or something for the game the next day. So we'll get a good Richmond crowd, hopefully wearing Davidson stuff, which will be fun. And then this year, the big one is this is going to be 35 years of women's soccer at Davidson. So we are super excited about that. I think it's amazing. I've been a part of an anniversary before at a program, and we did this pretty awesome thing where we actually got in touch with the woman who started the program and kind of had to fight Title IX. And they came in, did interviews. We put a whole movie together. So I'm hoping to make it special, not just for the alumni, but also for the current team to kind of see who, was before them, who made this possible for them. So we'll plan a game and an event this fall for 35 years of Davidson women's soccer. So a lot going on in the past 5 months and a lot to look forward to. Very, very excited for the future of Davidson women's soccer and this upcoming fall. It is right around the corner. It's going to be here before we know it. But that is for me kind of my spiel, my goals, vision, a lot of updates. But I would like to turn it over to everyone else. What kind of questions you have, what kind of answer? I'm excited to hear from everyone.
Oh, all right, I need to be off mute. So I'll go ahead and read questions that come in through the Q&A. So the first one is, will you be sending out information around reporting for move-in?
Absolutely. Yes. So I'll have like a full detailed schedule for the day. Right now, I can tell you what it's looking like. We're going to do check-in at about 9 a.m. to 11. So have a couple hours for kind of some leeway time. Our meetings are going to start at 11. So we're going to meet with the team. Those are going to be team meetings only. So we won't have a parent meeting, but we will have team meetings. Those will probably take a couple hours. They're also going to do some impact testing. They go with the athletic trainers and do some physicals. And then they're going to have a couple hours, probably a few hours after that. And then we'll do an evening session. So we actually have the opportunity to move in on August 1st. But Davidson won't let us move into the dorms until August 3rd. So for me, I'm okay losing a day, but that means we have to get started a little bit earlier. And I just think it makes sense to not put them up in hotels. And it's a hassle, especially coming in as a freshman. Parents want to move them in. They've got all their stuff. So we're going to move in August 3rd, make it work by doing a quick evening session, but you're going to have a few hours throughout the day to move in. But I will definitely be in touch with way more details of the day and our actual meeting times and all of that.
Great. Thank you. Okay, our next question. How would you describe the style of play that you'd like to build at Davidson?
Yeah, I get this question a lot, especially from recruits. And I keep telling them for this season, it's a little bit to be determined. And that is just because I do have a lot of incoming freshmen who I haven't gotten to see play live yet. And it's hard sometimes on film to kind of compare the level based off the college level, but going to use the first couple weeks to evaluate. I will say I am a big person who I like to play to our strengths. I don't have like this system that I'm trying to force and plug players into. I more want, the best players on the field that are going to give us the best opportunity to win. And whatever system that means, whatever style of play that means, whatever our strengths are, is kind of what we're going to do. So this season might look really different than next season. That season might look really different than the season after. But I will say that some of my kind of visions and some of my non-negotiables, I talked about the fitness piece. That's big for me. That's just a general thing, but I was a defender. So no matter what system we're playing, no matter what, I want to be hard to score on. I want that to be part of our identity. I want to be defensively organized. I want teams to say, wow, like we can't score goals against Davidson. It's how we're going to win soccer games. It's how I've won back-to-back championships where I was at, is because we had a solid defensive unit. So that's going to be a big piece of it. While I was a defender and I want to be defensively sound, I'm pretty attacking minded. I want to possess the ball. I want to move the ball. I want to play in two touch. I want to play fast. But at the end of the day, we're not going to win games if we don't score goals. So I've been preaching right now, and this is always going to be kind of part of the way that we play, is possession with a purpose. So we win the ball, can we break a line right away? Our first thought is forward. And that doesn't mean whack the ball forward. It means, can we break a line? Can we find an attacking center mid who's turning and transitioning and we're going at teams fast? So defensively organized, but attacking minded, playing quickly, quick speed of play, and fit. And we're going to battle and we're going to scrap and we're going to be competitive and we're going to have a great mentality.
Great. Thank you. Can you tell us what are the specialty areas for you and Sophie on the staff, like areas of play?
Yep. So soccer specifically, I was a defender, and Sophie was actually a defender as well, but she's got experience working with attackers, as do I, but that defensive piece for me, like I said, is really important. So for this coming season, I will primarily, like when we split groups, I will primarily work with the defenders, and she will primarily work with the attackers, which we kind of already started to do in the spring. And like I said, we'll hire a goalkeeping coach who will handle the goalkeepers. So that's kind of the soccer specific piece. I would say overall, Sophie's done an awesome job. She knows the game really well. She's really kind of analytical of the game and kind of soccer knowledge, loves it. I'm a little bit more big picture, so we've got a good balance there. So like on the field, hey, when Sophie notices something, she can tap my shoulder and, you know, we're going to figure out how to fix it like tactically. She's been really, really good at that, where like I said, I'm a little bit more big picture. So that's another area of expertise, I guess. And then in the office, we're doing everything right now. We're both new. I want to make sure we both know how to do everything. We're both recruiting. We're both doing office work. And then eventually, once we figure out, okay, you know, you love this is your area of expertise, you take on this, and then I'll take on other things. Eventually we'll divide and conquer a bit, right? Eventually we'll divide and conquer a bit more, but right now we're getting our hands in everything together.
Great. Let's see here. What's our next question? What are you excited about most in your first year as a head coach?
Yes. No, that's a great question. It's everything right now. I think just kind of building my own unique thing. I was part of a program that, you know, built something really special, and I had a lot of impact in that, but now I'm kind of the face and the name. And I'm just excited to like say and look at some of the players, and after, you know, they had me for 2 years, and say, wow, like you've really made a transformation here. You've really impacted my life in a positive way. And, you know, in 5 years, I want those players to be able to call me and say, hey, I'm getting married, and, you know, you're invited to the wedding. So I think building those new relationships, I'm excited for that too. So just kind of transforming everything here, building a new culture, starting to get close relationships. I'm excited about that piece. I had a really good thing where I was, and I want that here 100%.
Cool. All right. Next question. There are a lot of players who graduated this past year. Are you bringing in a different balance of positions, or will we find a similar balance of forwards, midfielders, defense, and keepers?
Yeah, we lost 12 and we're bringing in 10. So we definitely have a balance because it's a lot of players. And there are multiple players in each position. So obviously I wasn't here last fall, but I do know that we were going to have some big holes to fill. You know, we're losing 2 starting center backs. But I know that we've got, you know, players currently on the team that have experience at center back. I know that we're bringing in players that have experience at center back. So it's definitely going to be a balance. We have holes, but we have players that can fill those holes. So there'll be a good balance, I think, of players coming in based off the 12 that we're leaving.
Okay. Next question. You've watched all of our players on film, and now you've had them on the field. What do you see changing or staying the same in terms of style of play that you're hoping to put into place next year?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I think kind of staying in place is I do think, like I said, I want to keep the possession piece, but I want to do it a little bit more purposely. But we do have players that I've seen on film, that I've seen in the spring, that are very, very skillful on the ball and make very good decisions. So I think the technical piece is very, very strong, and we're just going to make it stronger and almost, I guess, more productive. So kind of moving it up the field and being able to, okay, now we've got this. We can play, you know, 10-yard passes all day long, but now we've got to start to look for that second layer a little bit. But overall, technically, we've got a great group. They're super skillful. So we're going to make sure we use that to our advantage.
All right. Let's see here. I want to make sure I'm reading the questions. Other than Richmond, who are the strongest teams in the A10 this season?
Yep. St. Louis is always going to be up there. And then Dayton, who we actually play in season this year. They're always very strong. I know they had a tight match last year, so those are going to be the probably top 2, but I do feel that every game, and this is kind of why I loved the opportunity of the A10, because the league I was in was like this as well, is every game anyone can win. Every game is up in the air. You need to show up and, be 100%. Goals are 1-goal games, 2-goal games. It's very rare within the conference that you're going to see, a 5-0 win. So I love that piece because you've got to be ready to go and you've got to show up for every single thing. But St. Louis and Dayton historically have been at the top. But I think that the gap between those two and the rest is getting much, much smaller, and it's kind of an even playing field otherwise. So we just have to show up every single game and be ready to go.
Okay, we have one more here from the group. What is the most pleasant surprise about Davidson College?
Great question. I don't know if it was a surprise because I think I got this feeling when I came on the interview, but just kind of the way that every single person, from players, from my administrators, from the community, has just really accepted and supported and just wrapped their arms around myself, around Sophie, and just, all right, you're in this position and we back you 100% and we trust you and we're excited to see where you go with it. And especially the players. I've told them a bunch this spring, I could have come in and they could have, who knows? You never know with a new coach. You're always kind of a little bit uneasy. You kind of have to feel them out. But I'll tell you what, after the first week, it was, all right, yes, coach. They gave it their all. They tried, the effort on the field was there. They were just so incredibly responsive and willing to kind of make changes and do things differently. And just, it's been a collaboration for sure, even with the players. So that for me was awesome because stepping into a head coaching position can be a little bit daunting. But they've been super just receptive, responsive, and have made me feel really welcome, but also super respected, which I think is very important.
Cool. I don't see any questions left in the chat. I just want to make sure everyone has had an opportunity to ask any questions they had before I toss some of my own out there. So anybody else want to chime in? All right. So I'm going to put my fundraiser hat on for a minute right now, and I hope that many of you are aware that we're currently in the Wildcat Top 21 fundraising campaign. That is an opportunity for all of our teams to raise funds. We started on June 1st and we're running through tomorrow, June 21st. And so I'm going to have Riley hopefully talk about some of her biggest needs for the program for this coming summer training and in the fall.
Yeah. So for the fall, travel is always going to be the biggest need. I never had to be the one to kind of look at the, big price tag in terms of buses and hotels. It was never me. I kind of had an idea, but I was more of the lunches and dinners type of person as an assistant. And the price tags on, these buses, $8,000 for a way trip is pretty crazy. So that's definitely it. That's always going to be the biggest expense. Apart from that, I would say gear is one thing. Maybe not so much for me, but that's the players talking. That's just the reality of the world we live in now. They love nice stuff. They like having cool things. I got here this spring and we were practicing in old game uniforms, which hey, they're game uniforms, I guess, but they laughed because I was like, do you guys want to practice in this? Because I didn't know what we had at the time. And they just walked out and started dying laughing because they were like, we don't have practice shirts. So that's one of the other pieces. I'll go my top three. So 1, 2, and then my third would be our goalkeeper coach, actually the part-time. It's a fundraise position. So, I'd love them to be able to put in more hours, to be able to get on the road, to recruit, to give them to give someone, an opportunity who wants to be in the college game and make the college game a priority. And maybe it is, a lower kind of stepping stone job, but at least they're committed to it. They want to do a good job and kind of have an impact on the goalkeepers here before moving on to whatever's next. So those would be the top 3 things, Jess.
Thanks. And then kind of pie in the sky, what would you do, or how do you think the program would be impacted with a sudden influx of support from the Davidson soccer family?
Yeah, it would be awesome. Eventually, we travel a lot in conference. Eventually, I think it would be awesome to do a little bit more of a weekend out of conference trip. And this is a little bit longer term, but maybe we can take a couple players and go to their hometown and do a weekend there. So they kind of have a home game, which they never get to have whenever we're, playing local teams and kind of traveling all over for the 8-10. And when we travel for the 8-10, it's just one game typically. So it's just, you're kind of in and you're out. So I think that would be a big piece of it. I think that would be awesome to kind of do eventually long term, but we would be excited about that.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to throw it out there one more time in case anyone has a question they didn't get through. But I also want to share with you, well, I'll just keep talking in case anyone else wants to submit a question. I'm going to go ahead and put the link for our Wildcat Top 21 Challenge in the chat so everyone has it. And you should also be getting emails from our DAF email address tomorrow that will give everyone the link as well. So I want to make sure you have those things and are able to support our coaches and our wonderful scholar athletes. So send this over here. 1 second. And just last chance, we have 38 donors so far to the challenge, and so want to thank everyone that has participated already. All right, do you want to close us out, Riley?
Awesome. Yes, I'd also like to thank everyone for the support coming to games. I'm excited to see people this fall and just kind of get back into action. But thank you all for hopping on, taking the time, and I'll be in touch with more details and more exciting things to come for Davidson College Women's Soccer. So thank you guys again, and looking forward to see you soon.